Welcome to ShowerDoorHelp.com. I'm Richard. I'm here to help you with some shower doors. So I'm here kind of to go through my experiences of what it was like, what I've learned over the years, what you need to know in order to have a good installation on a shower enclosure, some tips and tricks and things to go over. So basically, what is a frameless shower door or a frameless shower enclosure? A frameless shower enclosure is basically a heavy glass enclosure using 3/8 or 1/2 inch glass, which does not require like metal framing around the edges to support the glass because it's thick enough to be its own structure. You still have to use metal as far as like clamps and hinges and, handles and sometimes channel depending on the situation, but the heavy glass is what makes them be considered frameless shower doors. So basically that the shower door industry is not really regulated, just to let you know. Okay, there's no like electrician's code book or plumber's code book or anything like that. There's only 3 things that a shower door installer must follow in order to meet code. The first one is it has to be tempered safety glass. The door must open outward, although it can open inward. The reason it has to open outward is because if you're in the shower and you fall down and you're incapacitated and the fire department goes to get you out, they can't open the door because it doesn't open outward and then you're laying in front of it on the inside of the shower. So that's basically the reason behind that part of the code. And also depending on your location in your city codes or your county codes, whatever you have, you typically are required to have a 22-inch clear opening. A clear opening is basically the opening that you get when you have the door open, including the door that interferes with it. But so basically it's a 24-inch door, covers that. So those are the 3 things. And the problem with just having those 3 rules and no necessary regulations about shower enclosures, there's a lot of stuff people do that just is not safe. There's no rules on how you're supposed to attach the glass to the walls. There's no rules on a lot of things that can be unsafe. I see a lot of people just glue the glass to the walls and they call it good. And then silicone over time doesn't work. It comes apart and then your glass falls and you're standing there naked in a pile of broken glass. So anyway, nobody wants that, trust me. So anyway, frameless shower doors are basically 99% of what is installed these days. Nobody does a frame shower door. They're harder to clean. They just don't look as cool. And so anyway, so basically what do you need to do to put a frameless shower door enclosure in? There's a few things that I've seen over the years where it just makes the experience not a good one. So basically you need a good foundation. So you need to have your tile done correctly, and there's a few things that your tile and your walls and your structure and everything have to have in order to make a frameless shower door work in. So I would suggest make sure you hire a professional and you ask them questions like what's your experience, get a feel for them, and just find out their experience, because there's a lot of guys out there, gals too I guess, that do things that just don't do things correctly. So anyway, a couple of things when you call a shower door company, you'll ask them, hey, I need to get a frameless shower door, and they'll say, do the walls have studs behind them where you're going to hang the glass, your doors and your panels? And some people don't install stuff unless there's studs behind there, but that's kind of I can kind of show you that that's not the most important thing. The most important thing that you have is that your walls are done correctly and that your tile is done correctly. So if I ever have a problem with a wall that doesn't have studs behind it, it's typically because the tile's not attached to the rock board or the backer board like it's supposed to. You wouldn't, and I'll post up videos to show you how you can kind of tell. And if you have hollow spots and voids and your tile's not attached to your rock board correctly, then you're going to have more problems than you would if you had not had the studs behind the board. And even having the studs behind the rock board can actually cause problems too, because if there's any voids in there and you're going and connecting to the dry or the studs that are behind the rock board and the tile, and there's a gap there, when you go to tighten your screws down, you're going to suck that tile and backer board to the stud itself, and then tile doesn't flex very well, and it will crack the tile. So that's a problem, more probably than the structural requirement of a stud. So anyway, got to be careful about that. Also too, when you're considering doing a frameless shower door, think about the tile you're going to use. You got to have good tile. You can't have like soft tile. I wouldn't recommend glass tile. The tile should be flat. And then I can kind of show you some pictures of glass tile and what happens when you hang a door off of it. And then soft tile as well. You need a strong surface for that 75 to 100 pound door to hang off of. So yeah, that's important. And then your walls where your door is going to hang off of, it needs to be flat. And the reason it needs to be flat is because if there's any curve or bow to it and you put your hinges on that wall, your pivot points don't line up on your hinges, so they're like canted to each other, kind of like the analogy I like to use is if you're here in Colorado, you don't drive around your four-wheel drive vehicle on dry pavement, because when you go around a corner, your axles start to bind up. And that's the same thing that happens with a frameless shower door if the pivot points aren't lined up. The actual hinges will bind against each other and they'll fight each other, and the weakest point is the glass held in the hinge. So basically what will happen is the glass will start to slip out of the hinge over time. Every time you open and close it, it puts that torque on it, and your door will walk out of the hinges. And that's a chronic problem. So make sure your walls are flat where you're hinging the door off. They don't have to be necessarily plumb, but they definitely need to be flat. So next thing you need to make sure too is your area that you're planning on attaching the shower enclosure to is waterproof. The best way to waterproof something is use tile. So you don't want to be attaching part of the shower enclosure to drywall, for example. And you want to make sure it's waterproof with tile, and that's a solid surface for the glass to attach to. So also too, know where you're going to put where you're going to drill holes for the hardware, and don't put pipes and don't put electrical and things like that behind it. Heated floors. If you're going to have a heated floor, make sure you leave room for where the shower door is going to be, the panels are going to be attached to the floor, because you got to drill a hole through that, and you drill a hole through your heated floor, it's ruined. So you got to tear everything out and start over. So anyway, that's things to look out for there. And also too, all your horizontal surfaces need to slope to the drain. So your curb needs to slope to the drain, your floors need to slope to the drain, your benches need to slope to the drains. You need to have a basic funnel of your entire area inside the shower that's going to funnel to the drain. And then you don't want pools. If your curb's sloped the wrong way, the water's going to pile up in front of the door, or it's going to pile up in front of the fixed panel. You don't want that. Just, I mean, you think it's common sense, right? Everybody's going, that's common sense. I got examples here I'm going to put up that will show you how uncommon it really is. And so anyway, that's an important thing, especially with frameless shower enclosures. Second thing is make sure your angles are standard angles. There, I'll put a link below for the shower door hinges that we use, and you can look at the standard angles, which are 135 degree hinges, 90 degree hinges, and 180 degree hinges. All your angles in your shower and your attachment points, they need to have those standard angles. I'll post some pictures up as well showing you disasters on people putting the wrong angles in their shower, and then the shower door guy comes in after the fact to go to measure, and he's like, sorry, can't hang a door off this wall, it's not the right angle. Happens all the time, trust me. I even get people to send me pictures now before I even go out, so I'm not wasting my time going out and look at a shower that it's not going to work. So anyway, structural supports of the glass. So you want to make sure your glass is supported correctly. It's heavy glass basically. So you want to make sure, sometimes, we rarely do it anymore, but sometimes you need a header across the top of your shower, just because of the design and layout and the way it is. And if you don't want a header, you got to make sure your design is going to allow you to not use a header. And you don't want to find that out down the road. Examples are you put a toilet in front of the wall where the wall is, and you can't hinge the door off the wall because the toilet's in front of it, and you have to hinge the door in the middle somewhere, and you have to support the panels that the door's hinged off of, so you have to put a header across it. So make sure you consider those things. Another thing is, let's say you're doing a steam enclosure. You want to do a frameless steam enclosure. There's a couple things you want to make sure you're looking out for. Your soffits need to mirror, your curb and your soffit need to mirror each other so that they're both on they both follow the same line. You don't want them to be out of plumb of each other, because then you're going to have a reveal at the bottom that's not the same as the top, or you're going to have a reveal that's not consistent from front to back, because you got to follow. You typically follow the curb reveal. So anyway, make sure that's good. And then you want to make sure your ceilings in your shower slope to the back wall, because what happens if the ceilings inside the shower don't slope to the back wall, you end up getting condensation on the ceiling when you're steaming, and then those water drops, when they cool, they drip off the ceiling and they drip onto you. So you're in there all nice and warm and everything, and then you start getting drips of cold water on you, and I've had people call me and ask me, hey, what's going on with my shower? I didn't typically put them in. The one instance I'm talking to is actually a neighbor of mine that called me and was asking what was going on with their shower. And so the actual contractor sloped the ceiling to the door itself, so all the water was running off the ceiling to the door, and it was just dripping all over everything. So anyway, next thing is the transom. Why you want to have a transom over the door in your shower, your steam shower? Well, there's two reasons for that. One, you want to vent the shower if you're not steaming in the shower. So you can just open that vent up, and then when you're in the shower and you're just getting a normal shower, you don't have it filled up with steam. Also, too, you can leave it open when you're not in there, and it can dry out easier that way. Second reason, and this is something that probably people don't think about, is that if your door goes all the way to the ceiling and you have a vent in front of the door won't open outward like it needs to for code purposes, because it's going to hit that vent. So if you put a transom over the door, you lower the swinging door to the point where it will clear whatever's on your ceiling. So that's an important thing to think about when you're thinking about using a vent. So yeah, I mean, that's the basics. Some of the things to think about. You might even want to give a shower door company a call before they when they start working on your shower. Some, you know, this is what some of the customers and contractors I've worked with taught me, is they take pictures every day that work's done in their shower, so they can get a progression of the work being done in the shower. So they can get a picture of the studs, they can get a picture of all the piping, they can get a picture of all the rock board and everything that's put up. So you can see where pipes are, you can see where whatever, wires, you can see where the studs are, you can see how the tile guy did his work, how the framer did his work. It's just a good idea. Every time you come home after somebody's work there, take a picture of it. You can send those pictures to the shower door companies, and I'm sure a lot of them are just happy to talk to you about what's going on based on the pictures. So yeah, that's a trick that a lot the contractors and some homeowners have taught me. And another thing too would be, don't assume you know everything about what's going on, and ask questions, and make sure that you're getting the answers that you think are reasonable. There's a lot of things that go unsaid and assumed when a shower is being built. For example, a frameless shower door, believe it or not, it can have channel on the walls, attaching the glass to the walls, and it's still considered a frameless shower door. So unless you're specifying with the glass contractor that you want clips, not channel, they can put channel in. It's still a frameless shower door, and you assume that it wasn't going to have channel and it was going to have clips, and then you're done with, and there's your shower. So anyway, that's just an example. So in conclusion, couple of things I see from people that actually call me and want me to come out and fix shower doors that somebody else put in. It's don't put the cheapest price at the top of your priority list. So put knowing what you're paying for at the top of that list, because if you're only looking at the price, you're going to get what you paid for. So anyway, that's basically it. I'm going to put this outline in the bottom underneath in the down there in the description, so you can kind of go through it. I got some links in there as well. So yeah, just go ahead and take a look at that. If you have any questions or anything or any comments, just go ahead and put them in the comment section. And a like and a subscribe is going to help me out a lot. I'm doing this all for free. It's actually Christmas right now, and I'm doing a video. So anyway, Merry Christmas out there, and good luck. Thanks.